Good evening, folks. Welcome back to the channel. It's a pleasure to see you. It always is. I hope you're doing well. We enter the third round in the US Open. As always, we'll be going through each and every one of these matches that we've got for today. Get your comments in with your predictions as we go. Anything that I'm going for personally will be in that pinned comment. Take a look at that. If you want to, take it. If you want, leave it. If you must, it's entirely up to you. Ultimately, we do make our own decisions over here. Now, like the video, before we get started, get yourself subscribed to the channel if you'd be so kind. We continue to grow each and every day. We're touching on 2.7k. Get yourself involved. It would be an honour to welcome you to the team. And now all that is out the way. Recap time. Quick recap. How did we get on yesterday? Did we win? Did we lose? Did we just come close? Most importantly, did we enjoy the tennis? There was no dice for me. Unfortunately, I had Gabe Diallo to beat Jamie Munar. Look, a loss is a loss. I've had my fair share of them. In my time, it's the performance I had a problem with. The performance from Gabe Diallo was borderline disgraceful, and I won't say too much more about it, but look, he weren't the only one. He weren't the only one to shit the bed yesterday, so I suppose there's that. Still in a good spot. Makes it 4-3 so far on the bets for the US Open since we've started. All the outrights do still live and breathe. Happy days. Happy days, certainly. Ain't gonna complain with that. But get yourself involved, share with the group, let us all know how you get on, and we'll waste no more time with it. We'll get straight into business. Right, first off, Benjamin Bonzi and Rinderknech. Can't wait. Cannot wait for this. Very excited to see these two Frenchies get after it today. Who is it going to be? There can only be one, as we very well know. No stranger to one another. Played each other 4 times before. Rinderknech did beat him the first time in Istanbul 2021, and then it's been Bonzi time ever since. Now, they haven't played each other since 2022, so I wouldn't read into that too much. A lot changes over the course of a year, never mind 3. I'd have to go with Benjamin Bonzi, I feel like, just on what I've seen so far, not only in the US Open, but on the hard court in general this season. I think he's, dare I say, a little bit more trustworthy, although watching his matches, you never know what's going to happen. Nobody knows how these matches are going to finish until it's game, set, match. I mean, you just can't write it. You just can't write it. And it's a good job you couldn't write it, because I highly doubt you'd make it as exciting as what he does if you could. Fantastic against Medvedev. Won the first 2 sets. Dropped the tiebreak in the third, then got bageled in the fourth. I thought it was curtains. Didn't have much hope going into the fifth. But Bonzi done what Bonzi does. And then he seen himself through, didn't he? Couldn't believe it. Couldn't believe it. Like I say, you just can't write it. And the game against Machac, I mean, I had him to win 2 sets, and I didn't have much hope for that after that first and second. He had us all fooled, did he not? Dropped the first 6-2. Then he was up 4-2 in the second. Ended up losing that 6-4, rather. I thought it was curtains. I thought it was curtains from then. But no, once again, Bonzi done what Bonzi does. Watch this, he is watching this. Next 3, 7-5, 6-3, 6-4, was it? Something like that. 7-5, 6-3, 6-4. I'll have a bowl of that. Old Dem, see you later, Marcus. Get on. Pickleball time for you, brother. I think he's a better player than Rinderknech. I weren't that convinced against Carby Spain. He looked a little bit passive, although we did get it done. 3-1. Davidovich Fekir took that first set, dropped the second and third, got pummeled in the second and third, and I thought it was curtains for him too. But he had something to say about that. Come back in the fourth and fifth. I'll have a bowl of that. Give him a taste of his own medicine. Now, Davidovich Fekir took second and third, 6-3 and 6-2. Fourth and fifth for Rinderknech was 6-2, 6-3. Have a bowl of that. Have a bowl of that, you bastard. Who do you think you are? I think it's going to be a tough one. I think the reasonable choice in this would just be an over 3.5 sets, if I'm being honest with you. Did you see either one taking it in 3? Probably not. Probably not. Benjamin Bonzi's played 10 sets in his last 10 games, man. Will fatigue be a little bit of a factor in this one, possibly? I'd like to think not, but they are grueling matches, the pair of them have been. Davidovich Fekir's played 1 less set. I mean, Rinderknech, pardon me. So, if Bonzi's going to be tired, I imagine Rinderknech is going to be just as tired. Maybe it's not going to play that much of a part in this one just yet, or it could do. Look, Rinderknech is deceivingly good. He could definitely nick a set. He said it could go either way. It could go either way. I'd lean towards Bonzi given what we've seen. I mean, in general, on the hardcore, 14 and 10 for Bonzi, 5 and 11 for Rinderknech. That is a lot more trustworthy. It's just a save, innit? It's just a save. I do think Benjamin Bonzi's return game's fantastic. He's got a very underrated return game, I think. But that serve game from Rinderknech can be very underrated too. And I think given the court conditions on these fast courts, if that serve's hitting, I would have to assume there'll be enough 3 points within that for him to drag this one out, maybe even give Benjamin Bonzi a bit of a tough time today. Over 3.5 sets, like I said, couldn't see either one turning up and just blasting the other one in straights. Maybe not. I can't see it. That's just an opinion anyway. I'd lean towards Bonzi, lean towards over 3.5 sets, and maybe even just lean towards an over on the total in this one. I feel like, as far as the number goes, it's most definitely the toughest one we've got to predict. The rest of these are just mad favourites. Mad favourites. So a couple minutes on the rest of these should be enough for us. So yeah, Bonzi, slightly in, over 3.5. Lean towards the total, going over. You know what to do on that. Please do let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we'll move on to Jiří Lehecka and Rafael Collignon. Now, like I just said, all these are just mad favourites, not a lot of meat on the bone for the rest of the day, so won't waste much of your time going through these. Lehecka and Collignon. I suppose we've got to start by saying fair play to Rafael Collignon. Well done, mate. Well done. I didn't give him much of a chance, if any at all, against Casper Ruud, and he got that one done in 5. Now, look, it's a good win. It's a good win. I can't take anything away from it. Cannot take anything away from that. Just a little bit of food for thought. Casper Ruud, when it comes to hardcore tennis, it is most definitely not his strong suit. We'll just say that. Ain't exactly got himself many decent wins against solid opponents on the hard court so far this year. But I'm not taking that away from Collignon. I didn't expect him to do that. Absolutely not. So that makes it 2 and 3 on the hardcore for Collignon so far this season. Both of them have come in the US Open. Daniel Galán straight sets Casper Ruud. Happy days. I think Collignon prefers the clay. Daniel Galán prefers the clay. I think Casper Ruud absolutely prefers the clay. Now you're taking on Jiří Lehecka, who doesn't prefer the clay. As a matter of fact, he thrives on these hard courts and these quick conditions. And I don't know about you, I think if I've played Daniel Galán and I've played Casper Ruud, I might be thinking, wow, these players are shit. This is dead easy. This is dead easy. And then I play Jiří Lehecka, and then he brings the pace, he brings the power, he brings the intensity, he just brings that natural hardcore pedigree. And I go, oh shit, okay, so this is the difference, right? This is the surface issue, right? Lehecka dropped the first set to Bonzi, came back and was in full control for the second, third and fourth. And he did drop the first set to Etcheverry as well. And then rinse and repeat. He dropped that 6-3, come back, bageled them 6-2, 6-4. That's what I call poking the beehive. Will Collignon take a set? Will he take the first set? It's a bit of a trend that we've had. Will he take that first set against Lehecka, and then will Lehecka come back and just drill him into the ground? I think Lehecka just beats him straight up. I do. You probably don't need me to tell you that. I think there's quite a difference in styles here compared to the opponents he's faced, and then the opponent that he's going to come up against today in Lehecka. 1.13, colossal favourite. Like I say, the rule usually applies. It's early days, but for today, this slate's horrendous as far as having a bet. You're going to be looking at the dogs plus the points, unless you like the favourites that much, you'll take them on the spread minus the games. I had Djokovic doing that the other day. Could definitely cover it. Maybe, I don't know, Collignon might just be really feeling himself coming into this. He's got nothing to lose. Absolutely nothing to lose. I would always have to go with Jiří Lehecka. All the signs would point towards him, Collignon, fantastic performance against Casper Ruud. 1, are you going to be able to replicate said performance? And 2, well, are you going to be able to replicate it against someone who actually is a lot more suitable to the surface? 18 and 8 so far on the season for Jiří Lehecka. The majority of that coming, the first half of the season. Since we've returned to the hard court, it's been alright. But he's ran into some nightmares along the way. I'll give him that. May have went on some deeper runs if it weren't for Mannarino, Taylor Fritz and Ben Shelton. So no shame in getting beat by any of them, if you ask me. Jiří Lehecka, every single day of the week. However you're going to take it is entirely up to you. I am not too sure what business can be done with odds like that. Then we've got Jeremy Kim and Taylor Fritz. I read this as Jerome Kim every time. I say to myself Jerome Kim, and it just makes me laugh, man. Fucking stupid, innit? I know. I've been very impressed with our Jerome today. This week. I think he's been fantastic. Qualifying was too easy. Then they give him Ethan Quinn, and that was too easy too, 3-1. And then he gave him Brandon Nakashima, and that was anything but easy. Anything but easy. He had to go to war with Binak. It did take 5 sets and a 5th set tiebreak. He got that done 10-8. In the end, it doesn't get much closer than that. But he remains. But he still remains. But now he takes on Taylor Fritz, man. I mean, I'd love to make an argument for Jeremy Kim. This is probably one of the very few dogs of the day where I'd say, you know what, I wouldn't mind taking a sprinkle on the spread, given what I've seen. He's got a tough game, man. Good service game. He's big as well. I didn't realise how big he was. Looks a lot smaller on TV. Look, I mean, back-to-back Americans as well. This would be something, would it not? This would be something. You've took out Ethan Quinn. You've took out Binak. Will you go for the hat-trick? Will you creep into the tent and scalp the chief? I'm not too sure. Taylor Fritz is a different beast entirely compared to Binak and Ethan Quinn. And look, good battle against Nakashima. Good battle. If need be, I don't even think it'll be that close. It probably won't even have to get to that point. But do we think Jeremy Kim will be able to replicate this against Taylor Fritz, a much more formidable opponent? Odds would suggest not. 1.05 for the American in this. Now, I do still have Taylor Fritz on that outright as well. Get to the quarters. Obviously, like I mentioned yesterday, like the Jack Draper one, I did parlay. It was on Sky Bet, parlayed all 4 with him fucking pulling out for an injury. It just gets voided off. It was around like just under 8-1, something like that, 7-1. It's been absolutely hammered to around barely. I think it's around 3-1. But I've still got Djokovic, Zverev, and Taylor Fritz to reach the quarters, so I'm quite hopeful for that. Something's better than nothing, right? Yeah, look, it's better than Jack Draper getting beat anywhere. They'd been devastated if he got beaten, and the whole lot would have been fucked. So I'm very hopeful for Taylor Fritz. I do think he'll beat Jeremy Kim today. He got past Lloyd Harris, he got past Emilio Nava. However he wants to go about his business is entirely up to him. I just don't see him losing. Not a lot you can do against Taylor Fritz. I just assume he's going to win the majority, if not all, of these matches until he comes up against the likes of Sinner, Alcaraz, maybe a Zverev, something like that. You know what I mean. Probably not the likes of a Jeremy Kim. Probably not the likes of a Jeremy Kim, I'm afraid. I mean, do we think Taylor Fritz is going to get sent home this early in the US Open? He got to the final last year and the quarter-final before that. I don't think it's time for Taylor today. I really don't. Jeremy Kim on the points, the games rather. I feel like that'd be the way to look. Just bite the bullet and hope for the best on that one. And Carlos Alcaraz, it's got to be Carlos Alcaraz every single day of the week. 1.01 for the Spaniard. He hasn't dropped a set since Rublev in the quarterfinals in Cincinnati. And I don't expect him to drop one against Darderi today, even being honest with you. He's won both of them in straight at Pelka, and then Bellucci just had no chance. Bellucci stood no chance. That was if Carlos Alcaraz may as well just been playing against a bag of potatoes, you know what I mean? It wouldn't have done any worse. Luciano Darderi getting past Dinky in straight sets. Happy days. Getting past Elliot Spizzeri in straight sets. Happy days. But what does it mean to me? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Look, I've been saying I'm hopeful that there's a hardcore game, maybe an all-round game that resides within the Italian, although we are yet to see it. He's more suited to the clay. Based on what we know so far, I think it's too early to assume this guy is going to be a world beater on anything other than the clay courts. Even if you are just finding your feet, even if you are just trying to grow into somewhat of a hard court rhythm and whatnot, you don't want to play Carlos Alcaraz in a Grand Slam as well. No, absolutely not. I think Alcaraz is just going to destroy Luciano Darderi today. I really do. What was that result against Bellucci? 6-1, Bagel, 6-3. I think it might be more of the same. I think it'll just be rinse and repeat. For what it's worth, from what we've seen as well, I know Matteo Bellucci, we don't exactly rate him over here, but as far as a hardcourt game goes, this guy is what you would consider more suited to the hardcourt than Luciano Darderi. And he got absolutely molested by Carlos Alcaraz. He could have just put a sack of potatoes over there. It wouldn't have done any worse, I would have to assume he's going to destroy Luciano Darderi today. Carlos Alcaraz, minus those points, minus the games rather, would be the way I'd be looking in that one. And then next one, we've got Ben Shelton and Adrian Mannarino. Good old Shelley. Good old Shelley. Now, this used to be a bit of a tough time out for our Shelley, did it not? Mannarino did win the first two meetings on the hard court, and then up until recently, and he absolutely destroyed them, to say the least. 6-2, 6-3. Now, you know me, it's the same story with Mannarino. I always say, if you're not ready, if you're not prepared, if you don't know how to play against them, you're not going to win. It's as simple as that. If you're not prepared, if you can't hang with it, you're fucked. Simple as that. Ben Shelton proved to me last time out in Toronto, it was fairly recent, that he can more than hang with Mannarino nowadays. More than hang with him. I mean, what was that? 6-2, 6-3. You know, Ben Shelton's one of the very few people that's been able to dismantle Adrian Mannarino since we've come back to the hard court. So, you know, maybe that's an achievement in itself. I don't know. I mean, do we think he just beats him again in this? Won 9 of his last 10. He did take that title over in Toronto. Got beat by Zverev in the quarterfinals in Cincinnati. And now he's back to winning ways in the US Open. Straight sets to the lot. Ignacio Buser and Carreño Busta. Bit of an easy draw for him. Bit of an easy draw. Mannarino's had to go through Talon Griekspoor and Jordan Thompson. That's a bit tougher. That's a bit of a tougher one if you'd ask me. You know, he's won 8 of his last 10. Like I said, the only people that have beat Adrian Mannarino: Ben Shelton, Jannik Sinner. It's tough. It's a tough one. I'd usually sit here and say Mannarino plus the games, he's a nightmare. You know he is. That's usually the formula when we're dealing with this guy. But whereas he around a 4-1 dog, I'm not too sure what that spread will be. I don't know if it'll be high enough for me to take it. Getting Ben Shelton around 1.15. Yeah, it just seems a bit too early for these to go. You know, if the likes of Ben Shelton and Taylor Fritz and Big Foe get sent home, and it's not even the round 4 yet. I mean, what does that say? They can't have that. That cannot be allowed. I refuse to believe that that's going to happen. Absolutely not. The sky would have to fall in order for that to happen. I think, it's got to be Ben Shelton. It's got to be Ben Shelton. Based on what we've seen last time as well, absolutely pummeled him. As Mannarino got the legs to the last 5 sets with Ben Shelton? Probably not. Probably not. Definitely has the game. Definitely has the game to hang with him, but maybe not so much anymore. Are we just going to get a repeat at Toronto? I don't know. We could do. How much can change in a matter of a few weeks? You know, 6-2, 6-3 was an absolute beatdown, wasn't it? So maybe Shelley's just going to turn up and destroy him once again. And then next up, we've got Big Foe, Jan-Lennard Struff. Like I've just said it, you know, it kind of applies to this one as well. They've given Jan-Lennard Struff, he's come through qualifying first. I mean, flying through qualifying, that was too easy for him. Mackenzie McDonald, 3-1. They give him Holger Rune. Holger Rune was a massive favourite in that, and it took 5 sets, but Jan-Lennard Struff did manage to hold his shit together and get that one done. Fantastic stuff. You love to see it. When he's playing like this, we always say it, he is an absolute nightmare. One of the last people you want to see at the opposite end of the court when he's in this sort of form, let me tell you. Big Foe, I mean, of course they give Big Foe Nishioka in the first round. They give him Martin Dam. You know, Martin Dam. He could have had Jean-Claude Van Damme with there, you know what I mean? It just wouldn't have made a difference. Martin Dam, Jean-Claude Van Damme, who gives a damn, like it was always going to be a Tiafoe win. This is just the way of the water. They have to wrap them up. They have to bubble wrap these top 3, don't they? But now he's got Struff. And Tiafoe does come into this as a massive favourite, 1.35 against Struff. I think that's a little bit disrespectful, don't you? Is it just me? I think, you know, depending on where you're from anyway, I mean, I think that's a little bit disrespectful. I do. Just a little bit. I mean, the only thing that's putting me off in this is the amount of game time Jan-Lennard Struff has had. Coming through qualifying, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matches in, and he's just had to go 5 sets with Holger Rune in the previous one. That could be the decider. That could be the tell in this one. Even with that being said, 1.3 for Tiafoe on this, I would not be willing to roll a dice on that. He ain't exactly the most trustworthy. We are in the States. He kind of lives for the US Open, does he not? He always plays well over here. It's kind of the only tournament, the only time of the year where I do kind of expect him to play well. Semi-final last year, quarter-final before that, semi-final the year before. He may as well just not bother and just play US Opens. He may as well just play US Opens and just ride off that for the rest of the year. it's the crowd as well. It's that crowd of pissed lunatics that's going to make this impossible for Jan-Lennard Struff today, aren't they? You know, zero quartet is screaming through the fucking first save motion and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know. It makes it very difficult to go against Big Foe. I feel like there'll be a lot of variables going against Jan-Lennard Struff today other than just the tennis. It's tough to play. It's tough to play in front of that crowd, man. It's a boiling pot, innit? It's a boiling pot, it really is, and they all want Big Foe to win. Every one of them is going to want Big Foe to win. And I remember watching it last year, and it was unbearable to watch. I can't watch it. It's like them Fonseca games. I have to put mute on. I have to stick a podcast on or something else. I can't listen to it. I cannot listen to it. It's going to be Big Foe, innit? Bastard, it's going to be fucking Big Foe, innit? I just know it. I just know Francis Tiafoe is going to win this one, and he's probably going to turn up and make it look so convincing as well. I just know it. Even though he should struggle against Jan-Lennard Struff, he should struggle. You know, Struff has given us no reason to suggest, other than, well, I'd say the amount of time he's played on the court, given what we've seen from him, the game that he's been able to deliver, I'd say that's more than enough to take on the likes of a Big Foe. Absolutely. Is he just going to be tired? Is he just going to be tired? Is Big Foe just going to take advantage of a depleted Jan-Lennard Struff today? I fear it may be the case. It'd be a sad day. It'd be a shame to watch that. I hope it's not the case, but like I say, he always plays good. He always plays good. And it makes no sense because he plays shit all year round, and then it just comes to the US Open and he plays like he's in the top three. I don't know. I'm not going to risk it today. I'm not just going to go with Big Foe just because I feel like I have to. But then again, I kind of can see the path to victory. I can see the path to victory. Struff turns up, he's blown out of his ass, and everything's just going against them. And it's game over. Not a lot you can do. No, I don't fancy going against that today. Absolutely not. So I suppose Big Foe probably does get that one done. You know, if history's anything to go off. Head-to-head's 2-1 as well. He's beat him twice before. Never on the hard... Well, he beat him on the indoor hard court 2019. And then he beat him on the grass 2023. Not played each other for quite some time. Big Foe. I imagine everyone's going to be on Big Foe today. It's a very steep parlay piece. You've got to take what you can get today. You know, it's probably as good as it gets as far as a parlay piece goes. 1.36. You do it that. What you want to Hugo Blanchet on Thomas Machac. Very excited for this. I think based on what I've seen from Hugo Blanchet, he could make this one a little bit more interesting than what those odds would suggest. Qualifying was too easy. Pulled off the upset against Fabian Madison, and then an even bigger upset against Jakub Mensik. It did take the 5 sets, and it was a grueling battle. He had to go to war with Jakub Mensik, but he managed to match Jakub Mensik pretty much every area of the game. Most importantly and most impressively, the save and the power as well. This Hugo Blanchet saves really well. Saved everyone up on a platter, I would say, so far in the US Open. He's got his work cut out for him with Thomas Machac, more so this version of Thomas Machac. And I've always said, haven't I, when you get the correct version of him, he's unbelievable. He's somewhat unplayable. You know, it takes something strong to take out Thomas Machac when he's playing like this. Luca Nardi stood no chance. Quite a lot of doubters coming up against Fonseca, as is always the case. You know, that's just the way of the water. And I'd like to think Thomas Machac showed us all the levels in that one. He showcased what he's about. Tie-break in the first 6-2 and then 6-3 in the second and third. Absolutely fucking devoured Joao Fonseca on them service games. Nothing could be done. Nothing could be done. That crowd went very quiet, very quick, did it not? You love to see it. You love to see it. It's not Fonseca's fault. It's really not. I like the kid. It's just his fans are fucking somewhat unbearable to an extent. But fair play to Machac. Kinda knew he was going to win. Took advantage of that ridiculous price, and he remains in the tournament. I think it could be more of the same against Hugo Blanchet if Hugo Blanchet isn't prepared for this one. The 3 games in qualifying, the 2 in the main draw, the 5-setter against Mensik, you know, prior to this, could end up taking a toll. I wouldn't be surprised if it did. He has got nothing to lose, so just go out, try whatever you've got, give it everything. Give it everything you've got. And you may just stand a very good chance of upsetting the apple cart against Thomas Machac today. Look, I mean, I'm just going off the start of the season. Thomas Machac, Acapulco, Thomas Machac, hard court early doors. Thomas Machac was unbelievable. And if I was faced with this matchup back then, I'd have took Thomas Machac 10 times out of 10. So like I said, I don't want to speak too soon because it's been 2 games against Nardi and Fonseca. But now 2 go Blanchet, and I feel like these sort of slot nicely within the realm of a Nardi and a Fonseca. So I would expect them to get it done. I would expect them to get this one done. 1.2 is very steep. Certainly ain't no 1.9. Based on what we've seen in the previous matches, I think 1.2 kind of tells you all you need to know on this. Opened up around 1.3. People are taking it at 1.2, and people are still taking it at 1.2. So there you go. Thomas Machac would be the pick for me. And then let's wrap this shit up with Djokovic and Cam Norrie. Oh, good old Djokovic. Had him on the spread against Zachary Zvada, -7.5 games. He did drop that first set, and I thought, oh, fuck me. What's the excuse going to be now for Djokovic? No, dropped the first set, and he still covered his spread with games to spare. Happy days. That's what he's about. That's what he does. Now he plays Cam Norrie. I imagine he'll have a tougher time against Cam Norrie than what you would against a Zachary Zvada. Maybe, maybe not. He's played Cam Norrie 6 times before, and he's beat him every single time. That should come as no surprise. Never really on the outdoor hard court. I don't think they played each other once outdoors, to be honest. Majority of it has come on the clay. He walloped them in the French Open earlier on this season, and then he beat them in Geneva as well. That's right. Both of them coming on the clay. Cam Norrie did take a set in the semi-finals over in Geneva, but now we're not on the clay, but on the hard court, and that does change things quite so slightly. Look, Djokovic, US Open, hard court. I mean, I'm not going against them. You do not get rich betting against Djokovic. I suppose the way for me to look on this would be Djokovic on that spread again. I suppose my question for you would be, how much do we believe in Cam Norrie? I suppose, you know what, I'm going to stop saying I suppose as well. I would imagine Cam Norrie could give Djokovic a bit of a decent go, as opposed to, let's say, Zachary Zvada or Lehecka. He's much more seasoned, much more suited to the sport, much more battle hardened, if you will. He hasn't played as much as well. He did get Sebastian Korda retired against him, and then kind of made it light work against Comesaña as well. I don't think he's going to beat Djokovic. I really don't. If I could get around 7.5 for Djokovic again today, which I doubt it, but if I could, actually, why do I doubt it? No, I think these odds are pretty much the same as what they were. Maybe 6.5, 7.5. I'd probably just look at the spread with Djokovic again. Probably just look at that spread with Djokovic again. I can't see Cam Norrie, based on what he's given us so far this season on the hard court, and especially since we've returned to the surface. I can't see him going to war and dragging Djokovic around in a 5-set. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I think straight set, sort of 3-1 at the minimum for Djokovic. If you can get like one of them, what are they called? The double bets that straight sets or 3-1. I don't know. Certain books do them. A few of mine do. Maybe that'd be the way to look. Djokovic in straight sets. I don't know. If you drop one to Zvada, you could probably drop one to Cam Norrie. That's definitely not out of the question. I just look at Djokovic on the spread once again, folks. Bite the bullet and pray for the best. And we'll see. We'll assess the situation tomorrow. Very well, folks. That shall do us. Once again, another one in the bag. I appreciate you stopping by. Thanks for watching the show. Make sure you like and subscribe before you go, and I'd appreciate that too. Get yourself involved. Let me know what you're going for. Not too sure what I fancy today. Looking at the prices of the majority of these, it's not a lot of meat on the bone, is there? I suppose if I was going to do any business with any of them, it would probably be Benjamin, Bonzi and Rinderknech. I'm kind of looking at Alcaraz and Djokovic on the spread minus the games. But I don't know. I'll assess the situation. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. But I'll be seeing you around. Take it easy, yeah? You take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. It's the most important thing. Best of luck with your day, however you decide to go about your business. And I'll see you tomorrow.